So I'm RH3, stands for Roy Hamilton III. The second is my father, and the first is my grandfather, Roy Hamilton, who was also a singer. I'm from a long line of singer-songwriters. I'm a performer, I'm a musician, I'm a writer, I'm an A&R person, I'm a teacher. So I do a lot of different things. It's hard for me to say what I do specifically, but I think as a whole I am just music and musical. How I feel when I produced my Britney Spears song. And I got a chance to work with her and the Yin Yang Twins on one of her albums, and that was one of those records where I felt like I got to be really creative and she was really open to whatever I wanted to do. Britney is funny. She just likes to just be cool and laugh, and she's not like this, obviously that's her persona on TV, like sexy kind of diva. She's just cool. My first major placement was with R. Kelly, my mentor. It's the person who gave me my opportunity. In 1997, he was working on a lady named Kelly Price, and he was working with Ronald Isley. They had this song called Friend of Mine, and they were looking for a remix. And R. Kelly came in the studio. I just got there to Chicago. He was like, look, doing this remix, just give me something. Mr. Biggs is on it, it's gonna be hot. This is Mr. Biggs, how you do? That song. Yo, I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. Yo, I'm on the radio. It's different. He told me one time that it was his house that he wanted in Olympia Fields. He was like, this is the most serious thing that he ever I'm gonna get this, and then he's gonna do it with his music. And he said, Roy, if you really believe in yourself and believe in something that much, he said, God will make it happen for you. He said, no matter what. He just told me that one story, and I could just imagine he really wanted to make this happen. And when he told me the story, it helped me understand what faith is, the true meaning of faith. That's the best advice I ever gave. My grandfather was a singer of the 50s and 60s, and he sang R&B, he sang soul, he sang jazz. And I grew up listening to all that kind of music, 50s, 60s, 70s, some 80s, Michael Jackson 80s, early, When I moved to Chicago, I started to discover dance music, and I thought it was really cool. I was like, all right, I love dance music. Ever since Chicago, I discovered house and dance music, And also being in Chicago, I would go to a lot of cool jazz places too. So from 17, and I was still really absorbing as far as everything I was hearing, it would just come out, just constantly. So it was a lot of jazz, it was a lot of house music, and it was also this really kind of ratchet underground footwork in music that they used to do. So those are my main influences that I'm still carrying with me today, because it was at that time in my life where it literally left a huge fingerprint in my brain, those sounds, My day with Michael Jackson was interesting, because the same day that I met Michael Jackson, I also met Tommy Mottola. He came to the studio too, so it was a cool day for me. I remember walking into the studio, Sony Studios, and I was in with Teddy Riley. I had produced the track, and Teddy came in and kind of added his Teddiness to it, and brought it up to the that heavenly thing that Teddy does. And me and Teddy are really good friends. So he's like, yeah, of course you can come to the session. I want you to meet Michael. Michael is very secretive, but you can come to you should meet Michael Jackson. So I was like, yes. There was Secret Service, and it was just really intense at first. It's crazy. And I walked into the control room, and Michael was near the board, near the SSL board, with his dancing, and Teddy was doing something with the EQ, and I just remember seeing them, and I was staying back, because I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. I'm should I walk up to this? This is Michael Jackson. What? All right, so I kind of stood back until Teddy saw me, and he was like, Roy, come over. So I walked over, and Michael turned around, and he just put his hand out, shook my hand. I was like, hi. He's like, hey. And I never forget it. The coolest thing was that I had on this orange Moschino sweater, and it was cashmere. And he touched my sweater. He was like, you know, what is the sweater? I was like, it's just a sweater. Do you want it? You can have it. I tried to give him my sweater, and he just laughed, and he was like, no. He's like, I love it. I love your sweater. And then we just talked about the track, and he was like, you know, what made you come up with this? And I told him the song was called Shout, and I had got the idea from Isaac Brothers. You know, make me want to shout. You know, I kind of like got the inspiration from that, and he was thrilled about that because he likes the Isaac Brothers. And he was totally open, you know. But I was like 19, and it's like I was just happy to be in the room, shake this man's hand, watch him dance to my track, and be a part of what was going on. If it was me now, I'd have had a full-blown conversation with him, like life, like everything, like what does he think about, you know, I would have went in, you know. But I did, I got a good day out of it, and I'll never forget it. Dream collaboration, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, Benjamin Lyman. Yeah, he's just a guy singing his heart out in the subways of New York City and doing shows, but him also, strangely enough. I think he's amazing. So those three, dream collab. All three of them together with me on a track, me producing a track would be phenomenal. Oh yeah.